So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
The team is out, everybody. Welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast for the team sheet tantrum for Aston Villa versus ZRINJSKI MOSTAR in the Europa League. And it's absolutely disgraced. There's no Dwight York in the team. There's no Dean Saunders. There's no Andy Townsend, Paddy. The team's a joke.
No Ian Taylor, awful.
No Ian Taylor. I'm filling time while I'm trying to get Twitter to load here for me. For whatever reason, it's not loading. So I know the team is out. I just can't see it. And here it is. Here is our team for tonight. You can see the wonderfully beautiful and harshly omitted from the England squad. Ezri Konsa is there, but we have Emi Martinez in goals, Konsa, Diego Carlos, and Longley, Digne, McGinn, Dendoncker, Tielemans, Zaniolo, Bailey, and John Duran up top. First thing that strikes me there, Paddy, is I said in our preview show, there's no way he leaves Ollie Watkins out. You can't. You have to run the hot hand, was the exact words I said. And he's left Ollie Watkins out.
He has, and look, he's obviously got an eye on Sunday. We did talk about it in our preview that it is worrying when he makes so many changes. We've seen like Brighton are struggling tonight, Rangers are struggling tonight. That you can underdo this very, very easily, even though Brighton have a decent team out. It's just one of those things. You just don't know what you're up against. It's going into the unknown. We know these guys came back from 3-0 down to beat AZ Alkmaar 4-3. So they're not going to be any mugs, albeit they are away from home, and it should be a decent atmosphere in Villa Park today, as it's nearly a sellout. But look, it's still a strong team. If we were putting this out in the Premier League, I'd be worried a little bit, but it is still a strong team. And for me, the most important person on that team sheet is the guy that's there wearing number 1. So that tantrum is out of the way. We have our world's greatest goalkeeper sitting in our goal, and that's where we want him to be for all games. And everything else can be built around him. We've got the spine. The spine is strong. There's good players in there. There's good players have come in. There'll be arguments that we haven't seen much of Longley. Is it the right game to put him in? Is Konsa is obviously going to play it right back, so it rules out that.
No, Konsa's going to play in right centre back. That's a back three.
If it's a back three, it's better. So who have we got then? We've got Digne on the left.
And who's on the Bailey, right? Probably Bailey on the right, I'd say, and Zaniolo up top with Duran. Maybe McGinn on the right, and then you've got Bailey and Zaniolo behind Duran, and but that just leaves the two guys in the middle of midfield, very, very open. So I can't look. It'll be a 4 out of possession. It'll be a 3 in possession. That back line, I'd imagine.
Okay,
it just doesn't make any sense otherwise. Like,
yeah, well. Who are we to second guess the gaffer? So we'll see what happens. But look, it should be strong enough to go and beat these guys. But we need everybody on their game. We need to win this game, because if not, we're immediately snookered. If we lose, if we don't pick up 3 points today, we're needing snookers already. So we're going to have to go away from home and win 2 games if we don't. So the last thing we want to do is go out of this with a whimper. We need to go and we need to score goals tonight. We need to win and win comfortably. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, it's look, and I'm not given the injuries that we have within the team. But no Boubacar Kamara, no Diaby, they're injured. No Jacob Ramsey. I'm not. And we did our preview and we weren't sure whether any of those would play. And we were saying maybe they might play, maybe they won't. We certainly didn't think that Jacob Ramsey would be out, but with those 3 being out, I'm kind of okay with Tielemans and Dendoncker in there. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, there's better players on the bench than there's one better player.
And look, Lloyd has said right there, we could question it because it didn't work the last time. That's our fear. That is the fear of being a Villa fan. When it doesn't work, you fear that it won't work again. Albeit, it's a different type of atmosphere. We're at home against you have to say an inferior opposition to Legia Warsaw. So you would think we should have enough in the tank to go and beat these guys, even with the team we've put out there. We should steamroll them, but whether it comes together on the night is the issue and the worry.
Genuinely the only player I'm really surprised to see in there. And when I would say, look, obviously he's a good player. It's not that I don't think he's a bad player. I just thought there was no way he wouldn't start Watkins. The other players were up for, like Longley. For me, I was thinking as well, if Diego Carlos is fit and he came back into the team going with that back three. I think I even said it on the preview. I don't think I mentioned Longley, but I mentioned going with a back three would be, if Carlos is fit, would be my preferred option. Obviously we didn't say Dendoncker and Tielemans, but then again we didn't know that Kamara was out for sure. And obviously when Kamara is out, probably the next best option to put in there is Dendoncker, because he is that more of a holding player. Tielemans is the one for me, I suppose, as well, that is kind of out of left field, but I can understand it with Douglas Luiz playing so many minutes. I'm not thrilled about it, don't get me wrong, but I just thought there was no way he wouldn't start Ollie Watkins in this game, considering that if we got a goal up or got 2 goals up, I think we should be able to see this one out. But we could be in a position where we have to bring Ollie and Dougie off the bench here. And look, and in fairness to, was it Lloyd that said it a moment ago, you're dead right. You're dead right. We can question it because it didn't work the last time. But if it works this time, even if it works this time, we can still question it the next time. We can always, but we can always look at it as well and say, look, there's a rationality to it too. It's okay to be scared about the performance, but I think, like, if we go out and we win this 1-0 or 2-0 today, or if we win this 1-0 or 2-1, should I say, it's still a win. And as I say, we're still getting used to playing 3 games in 6 days, 3 games in 7 days type of situation. So I don't expect this to be perfect tonight at all, but I still expect us to win. Just like I expected us to win in Legia Warsaw as well. So it's there's trepidation, there's excitement, but there's also acceptance in this for me in seeing that team.
Of the 6 fixtures in Europe that were guaranteed, this is potentially the easiest of them to play Mostar, who will be perceived as the least strongest in the group at home, and we should be beating them. Even if we put out a few kids, we should be beating them. But it's just that illogical fear that us Villa fans have, that we just worry that little bit that something may go wrong. So, look, it's important to get people like Longley and Dendoncker on the pitch, because we might need them in the coming weeks. We've injuries popping up all over the place now, and everybody's a little bit worried. Tielemans is also important, that he gets in and gets game time and gets up to speed. Tielemans could very well start on Sunday in place of Boubacar Kamara if he doesn't make it. So they've been very stingy with the information on these injuries, so we don't know how far off they were. We saw Diaby left out of the French squad today, which would suggest that maybe his injury is going to run into the international break. So who knows? We'll find that out probably in the presser tomorrow. But look, we're at home. There's no travel involved. There's a decent team out there. I do expect us to go and win by 2 clear goals. So I'm going to go 3-0.
You're going to go 3-0, Villa? I think it's probably I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0 Villa. And just talking about this, actually, you made a good point about Tielemans there. If I'm going to call out Tielemans and say that himself and Boubacar Kamara didn't work because Boubacar Kamara's position wasn't defined as a proper 6, and both of them were playing as 8s, or both of them were playing as 6s, and I feel that Tielemans needs to have that definition beside him so that he knows exactly what his role is. I think his days of being this isn't going to come out the way I mean it, but I think until he gets used to this team, should I say, I was going to say something different. Until he gets used to this team, I don't think he's an improvisational player. I think he has to be told how the system works around him to get the best out of him. Now, the last time I criticised him because I felt himself and Kamara were really poor because Kamara didn't have a defined position. I can't see Dendoncker having anything other than the position I wanted Kamara to have that night, as in that holding midfielder. And maybe that brings a small bit more out of Tielemans because he knows that he can go forward and he doesn't have that. There's maybe a small bit more simpatico with the two of them there from that point of view, because there's definition to that 6th position. We'll see how it works. I want
Nick obviously didn't watch our preview because we certainly aren't underestimating them. I'm just stating the
no,
fact
Nick
that
didn't watch it. No,
these are the worst. These are statistically the worst team in the group. They're the least strongest team we're going to come up against, and the fact that we've got to play them at home, we should be winning it with the team we have. I did say in the preview I wanted a full team out tonight, and it was very important that we win our home matches and win every one of them. So I'm not underestimating them by any stretch of the imagination, but we should theoretically, with what we have at our disposal, be it our first choice centre half, central midfielders, or our second choice, we should be beating them, and that's the be all and end all. There's no excuses now.
And also, guys, for anyone who watched the preview, Barisic, the centre half, who is one of their better players, is out today. Is one of their leaders. He's their Tyrone Mings in defence, and he's out seemingly tonight. Actually, let's see. I'll just see if I can pull up their team. But let's see. I'll see if I can bring. I'm going to be honest; it's very difficult to spell their name, so I'm going to have to copy it out somewhere and see if I can get up their team. But like as I say, they did wonders to come back from 3-0 down against Alkmaar and beat them. Obviously, the respect needs to be paid to every team, but you always have to go in when you're the fan of the team. You always have to go in there with optimism that you're going to beat them. You can't be going in there saying we're going to lose the whole time, especially in a game like this, coming off winning 6-1 against Brighton. You know, like there is reasons to be optimistic here. It's not hubris. It's not over. We're not over the top. Like, we're not saying here we're going to smash these fuckers or anything like that. And we wouldn't do that because that's disrespectful. But I still, under the lights, I still expect us to be disciplined and to score goals tonight. And I do. I think we will. I don't think I can see their team up here. That's because that's not the real MOSTAR. Yeah,
you mean you're not following them on Twitter?
I was following them. I was for sure. But there's a lot of maybe that's it. There's a lot of sites that look very, very. There's a lot of Twitter pages look very, very like them, but only have like 200. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find them. I've clicked into 7 of them now, and all of them only have 200 followers, and they all look exactly the same. So unfortunately, I give up. And plus, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm going to know every single one of their players. We did research on them. We did research in the centre half and the striker that they played in South Korea. That is obviously dangerous. I think he's over 140 goals scored in his career. He's going to be someone that's going to need minding as well. And we spoke about some of the players that are on the team that were previously Croatian under 21s that are obviously good talent. And look, the Balkans is a hotbed for football, so there's going to be talented players in this team as well. So it's going to be an interesting.
The striker Bill Biaja, I think we came up with the name.
Yeah, Bill Biaja. Yeah. There's Daniel. Daniel, good. Welcome, Daniel.
Welcome, Daniel. Yeah, we did speak about him in the preview. He has scored 98 goals in 123 games. So do bear in mind that the level that he's scoring those goals at, but we still have to be wary that he's capable of doing it at this level too. So be ready and be prepared. The boys. By the way, we haven't even mentioned Diego Carlos. Great to have him back in there. I hope he has a really good night tonight because. As I said previously, we need to rotate. We need to have players ready if anybody goes down injured. So, we got to marshal him. He's obviously a pretty decent goal scorer. So, fingers crossed we can get this all going from the start and get a goal early.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Also, Paddy, I think it's important to mention Leon Bailey's back in the team. There's a lot. Like I'm expecting a lot. Yes, he's only coming back from injury. I'm expecting a lot from Bailey. I'm also expecting something from Zaniolo tonight. Under the lights at Villa Park, this is the night to make your name. This is the night to really catapult yourself in with with the likes of Diaby out, with Jacob Ramsey out. He is like, there's a potential for him to play 90 minutes tonight for the first time for Aston Villa. So I'm expecting a performance from him. I want to perform. I'm not expecting as in, if he doesn't do it, I'm going to call him crap. Nothing like that. But I want him to perform tonight. I think it's set up for him. I think he's a confidence player. I think he's a player who likes the bright lights. When we had when we had the guys from the Italian football podcast on previously, they said very much the same. Like, he is a player that can, you know, when he starts to smell himself, he starts to play a bit better. So when his confidence is high, and I think that this is a good game, you know, to get your confidence up and to start, you know, start showing what you can do in an Aston Villa football shirt for over 90 minutes. He's done it in fits and starts already, and that's not a criticism. That's just somebody getting used to the league. But for me,
No, well, we have to give him time.
Tonight.
It's taken It's taken Diaby a while to come up the full tilt. It's taken Pau Torres a few games to come up the full tilt. So we have to give him the opportunity. We've given Leon Bailey 3 years, so we need to give him the opportunity to bed in and get used to the pace of the Premier League. So this is going to be a completely different paced game, I would imagine. So it's a time for him to shine, as you say, and I think it'll be a decent game for him to go and make a name for himself.
Absolutely, for sure. Anybody want to get in with your roundups really quickly? This is a shorter team sheet tantrum today. Also, everybody, you can leave this link open if you wish. This link is going to throw directly over to AVFC Statos link afterwards for the live watch along. It is going to throw directly over there, so it will bring you directly to his site as well. Please support FFC Stato and his watch alongs if you are looking for somewhere to watch the game or to watch along to the game, should I say. Dale is one of the good guys, and afterwards, if you are on Dale's, it'll show you straight back here to us as well for the post match. So yeah, we've got our own little dance going on here of YouTube streams. So please support Dale. As I say, he's one of the good guys as well at AVFC Stato. So while you guys are getting in your results there, I am going to get going. So Neil Nick says 3-0 Bailey and Zaniolo show. As I nearly choke on my own tongue. Jeepers creepers. 3-0 Captain Nugget says. Andy Brogan says 6-0. C Line I says 3-0 with Duran, Zaniolo and Yuri. Daniel Donnelly says 2-0 Villa. 2-0 with Bailey and Duran, says Shane. Savas says 2-0. Top GS FIFA Gaming says 4-0. David Miller says 4-0 with 2 for Zaniolo, 2 for Duran. 3-1 says Steve 24/7 with Bailey and Duran with a double. Gaz Oak says 3-0 Zaniolo and Bailey to score. Shane Coleman says 3-1. Dream Villain says 4-0. Be Happy says 4-0. Hab says 4-0. Daniel says 3-1 to MOSTAR. Thanks for joining as well. We actually love when opposition fans join, because it does spice up the comments as well, and also you guys give us the information that we need. So feel free to join anytime, Daniel. Really, really appreciate you coming along. Simon says 5-0. Irish Villain says 3-1. Paul McAllister says, I need a pint. You can write that down twice anyway, for sure. I definitely do. 7-0 says John Steele with Zaniolo hat trick. Audrey, good to see you. 3-0 to the mighty Villa. Paul Miller 2-0. Max Hunter says 4-1 with Konza hat trick. The Big Matthew says 9-0. Cat Cannon says 5-2. Bollock says 3-1. Richie Ryan says 3-1 with Zaniolo masterclass. PJ Coyne says 1-1. Daniel Hughes says 3-0. Mark Willis says 3-0. Lot Young 1 says 3-0 with a Carlos header and a brace from Duran. 4-0 says Tyra Roblox. Bertie says 4-0. And I think we're going to leave it at that, guys, because I'm struggling to try and hide a massive cough since I nearly swallowed my tongue a moment ago. Michael Parsons says 3-1 Villa. He gets it.
And I have a pub to get to before kick-off.
And Paddy as well. Michael Byrne has said 3-0 as well. Paddy has a pub to get to as well. Guys, sorry for the shorter pod today, but we'll be back directly after the game with a post-match podcast right on the final whistle to discuss Aston Villa versus ZRINJSKI MOSTAR. Hopefully you'll join us then. Hope you enjoyed the game, and hopefully Aston Villa win. So until we see you next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. And if there's anybody who's here at the game, or who's watching, who's at the game, I hope you roar your guts up and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.